What Mahin had done in her attempt to defend herself was something Arslan could never have imagined. His face had turned red from suppressed rage. Without saying another word, he stormed out of the room and slammed the door shut behind him. Mahin was angry too. She felt no regret at all for what she had done. Arslan could not understand what crime he had committed that pushed her to such an extreme step. Wedding cards had already been distributed. The house was filled with wedding preparations and noise. And yet, she had demanded Kula. So far, no one in either family knew about Mahin's action. At first, Arslan thought he would settle the matter privately. He believed he could convince her with love and patience. But now he had gone straight to Mahin's father's office and placed the Kula notice in front of him. As soon as her father read it, he stood up abruptly. "What is all this?" Arslan replied coldly. "You should go and ask your daughter what this is. I have been tolerating her behavior for a long time now. Wedding cards have been distributed, guests have been invited, and now she wants to ruin my reputation." His voice hardened further. "She has no concern for her own honor, but at least she should think about mine. Many of my lawyer colleagues are invited to this wedding, so I request you, tell Mahin not to create any kind of drama. If she drags this matter to court, remember this clearly. I will neither give her a divorce nor will she be able to get Hula, and I will not even allow the rukhsati." Saying this, he left in anger. Mahin's father entered the house in fury. He threw the Kula notice in front of Mahin. "What is this?" Mahin lowered her gaze, but she had to speak now. "I want a divorce from Arslan." Her father roared. "Why? What is your problem?" Mahin replied bitterly, "Because he has affairs with other women. I saw him myself going into a hotel room with another woman. I cannot marry such a man. If I am loyal, I deserve a loyal husband." Her father said sternly, "I do not believe this. I have known Arslan since childhood. You must be mistaken." Mahin's voice shook with anger. "So you trust him, but not your own daughter. I am telling you, I saw him with my own eyes. That girl was begging him, saying, 'For God's sake, don't do this to me. Forgive me, I can't pay this price.' He takes women's cases on these conditions, so he can spend time with them. Why should I marry a man who has played with the helplessness of so many women?" A loud slap echoed through the room. "Enough!" her father shouted. "You have started talking too much nonsense. You probably had a small argument, and you have turned it into a huge spectacle." Mahin was shocked. Her father was not ready to believe a single word she said. He said firmly, "Prepare for rukhsati quietly. I don't want to hear anything else. There is no need to destroy our honor. Thank God Arslan has not spoken about this in his home yet, otherwise I wouldn't be able to face my friend. And remember, these kinds of actions do not harm men. Women get defamed. In today's society, once a girl's nikah is questioned, no one wants to marry her. Don't give me the pain and humiliation that I cannot bear. For God's sake, protect my honor and your husband's honor." With folded hands, he pleaded, and then walked out of the room. Mahin's mother left too, crying silently. Mahin stood there, motionless. "How clever this man is," she thought bitterly. "He made me look bad in front of my parents and turned himself into a saint. If I go to his house after rukhsati, he will do whatever he wants. But I will never let him do that." Mahin spent the rest of the day in complete silence. She knew no one would listen to her anymore. The decision had been made, and it had been made against her. On the wedding night, she remained quiet, silent, yet shattered from within. Arslan was silent too. No complaints, no explanations, no softness. The rukhsati was done. Mahin had arrived at Arslan's house as his wife. She sat in the room quietly for a few minutes, then changed her clothes and lay down on the bed. Barely 10 minutes had passed. An hour later, Arslan entered the room. Seeing Mahin asleep made his anger flare up again. She had neither apologized nor did her expression show any guilt. Arslan did not wake her. He quietly changed his clothes and lay down on the sofa. If wedding cards had not been distributed, and if his honor were not at stake, he would never have brought her here. He would have made her sit in her parents' house until her thinking was corrected. Mahin, however, was not asleep. She was pretending, watching him from the corner of her eyes, waiting for him to say something. But he said nothing. He turned to the other side and fell asleep. After some time, Mahin truly drifted into sleep as well. Morning after. When Mahin woke up, Arslan was not in the room. She got ready and came outside. She had breakfast with everyone. She was told that Arslan had gone out with his friends. A bitter thought crossed her mind. He brought me here only to satisfy his ego. There is no love, no attachment. If there had been love, he would have woken her up at night, tried to explain, tried to clear things. But what explanation could he give? The truth she had already heard with her own ears, and he had shown no regret, no sadness. Perhaps he was used to such things, which was why he did not feel the need to justify himself. Mahin thought bitterly. When a man fulfills his desires by forcing other women, why would he need a wife? A wife is remembered only by a man who wants his needs fulfilled with his wife. Her suspicion did not fade. It only grew stronger. Walima Samira Begum gave her the Walima dress. Wear this. The beautician will be here soon. Mahin looked beautiful at the Walima, graceful and elegant. But Arslan did not look at her even once. Her mood seems bad, he thought coldly. So what's the point of looking? As soon as she returned to the room, she changed into simple clothes. 8 days passed. Not a single proper conversation happened between them. Neither Mahin tried to talk, nor did Arslan. In front of everyone, Arslan pretended everything was normal. After 1 week, Mahin started preparing to go to court, the confrontation. She was getting ready when Arslan entered the room to pick up his wallet. Seeing her dressed up, he asked, "Where are you going?" "I don't think it's necessary to tell you," Mahin replied coldly. "Now that you're married, it's better for you to stay at home," Arslan said. "I'm going to court," she snapped. "I cannot ruin my career for anyone. I earned my degree with great difficulty, not to sit at home making rotis." Her tone was firm and sharp. Arslan replied bitterly, "I have no desire to eat rotis made by your hands, but you will not go to court." Mahin grabbed her purse, slung it over her shoulder, and walked toward the door. The next moment, Arslan grabbed her arm and pulled her in front of him. His eyes burned with anger. "So you don't understand something even after being told once?" He shoved her onto the bed. Mahin immediately stood up. "Who are you to stop me?" "I don't want to fight with you," he said harshly. "So understand calmly what I'm saying. Otherwise, I'll call your parents right now and tell them how disrespectful you're being." Mahin laughed bitterly. "What else can you do? Threaten my parents so they can blackmail me? I never wanted to marry you. My father forced me because of your threats. Otherwise, I would have taken Kula long ago." Arslan clenched his jaw. "I cared about my honor too. If wedding cards hadn't been distributed, I would have left you sitting in your parents' house. But now that you're here, I'll correct your thinking too." With that, he left the room and locked the door behind him. Mahin stood up from the sofa angrily. The sofa was placed on the same side of the bed where Arslan was lying. As she moved toward it, she suddenly realized she hadn't brought her pillow. Thinking Arslan might already be asleep, instead of going around the other side of the bed, she leaned forward and stretched her hand over him to grab her pillow. But her foot slipped. A crumpled chips wrapper lay on the floor, carelessly thrown there earlier. Before she could balance herself, she fell straight onto Arslan. Arslan jolted awake. Opening his eyes, he saw Mahin lying on top of him. A mocking smile crossed his lips. "What's this?" he said coldly. "Are your emotions getting so out of control that you're deliberately falling on me so I'll pull you into my arms?" His arms tightened around her waist. Mahin panicked. "No, my foot slipped. Let go of me." She struggled, but his grip was firm. "A clever excuse," Arslan said bitterly. "First you fall on me, then you pretend to resist, just to provoke me, to push me into doing something I don't want to do." Mahin's voice trembled. "Don't come closer, you'll regret it." He laughed darkly. "In your eyes, I'm already a pervert, aren't I? A man who takes advantage of helpless girls. And now a helpless girl has deliberately fallen onto me." He leaned closer. "Shall I show you how I take advantage of women's helplessness?" Mahin's face was inches away from his. Tears filled her eyes. "Please, let me go." For a moment, he hesitated, then suddenly turned over. Now Mahin was beneath him. "Honestly," he said in a low voice, "I'm not even interested in you. You're not so beautiful that I'd lose myself in your looks." As he spoke, he gently brushed the loose strands of hair away from her face with his finger. Her voice broke. "If I'm so unpleasant to you, then why did you come close? Move away." His lips curved into a cruel smile. "The thing is, at this hour I desire a woman, and you fell onto me like a ripe fruit. I won't let you go without tasting." He pinned both her hands to the bed and leaned down. Mahin's tears streamed silently. She was completely helpless. After satisfying his anger, he pulled away on his own. The moment she was free, Mahin jumped up from the bed. "I will never forgive you. I hate you," Arslan replied coldly. "Me too. Next time think 100 times before falling on me." Mahin lay on the sofa without a pillow. Regret burned inside her. If only I hadn't gone to get the pillow. If only I hadn't slipped. She touched her lips repeatedly. The imprint he had left felt unbearably deep. She cried silently. Arslan fell asleep. When Arslan woke up, the first thing he saw was Mahin sleeping on the sofa. Her swollen eyes, her puffed lips. A sharp wave of guilt struck him. This wasn't what he had wanted, but her past words and behavior had ignited such rage in him that he had taken it all out on her lips. For a moment, he wanted to lift her in his arms, lay her gently on the bed, and show her what love really was. But he knew, at this moment, she would react like a wounded lioness. So he quietly got ready and left. That night, Mahin did not go to the room. Fear gnawed at her heart. What if Arslan's behavior escalated? What if he took advantage of her helplessness? She knew Samira Begum came to the kitchen at night to warm milk for her medicine, so she couldn't stay there. The ground floor had only 4 rooms, one for her in-laws, one for her and Arslan, one locked guest room, and the drawing room. The upper portion of the house was empty. She didn't have the courage to sleep alone there, so she went outside and began walking in the lawn. It was December, the cold was sharp, dense fog covered everything, yet she kept walking. Arslan had been waiting. By 1 a.m., she still hadn't come to the room. Normally, she finished her work and returned by 11. Unease filled his chest. He stepped out. The lounge was empty. The kitchen was empty. His heart skipped. Where was she? When he opened the lounge door, he saw her outside, walking through the fog like a ghost. "What are you doing out here at 1 in the morning? Aren't you cold?" he asked. Mahin turned her face away. "It doesn't concern you. Go inside and sleep." "How can I sleep?" he said mockingly. "My poor wife works all day, and I don't even care about her comfort. I'm not that bad." He deliberately teased her. "Come inside. The room is warm. You're shivering. Your teeth are chattering. And if you're still cold, I'm here to warm you." Her face lost all colour. "No, I'm not coming inside. I'm not sleepy." "I won't say anything," he replied. "Come inside." Grabbing her wrist, he brought her into the room. He placed his pillow on the sofa, then his blanket. "Sleep peacefully on the bed," he said. Mahin said firmly, "I don't trust you." He smiled lazily. "I could lie on the bed too, but today I'm not in the mood." A few days passed like this, heavy, silent, and suffocating. No conversation, no arguments, no clarity, just an unspoken tension hanging in the air at all times. One evening, Samira Begum said to Mahin, "Get ready tonight. We have to attend a wedding." Mahin often went shopping with her, so she didn't question it. That night she got dressed. But the moment Arslan returned home and said casually, "Let's go," Mahin froze. Samira Begum wasn't ready yet. She was sitting beside her, talking. Seeing Arslan, Samira Begum asked, "Are you leaving already?" "Yes, Ami," Arslan replied smoothly. "I told you this morning, my friend's wedding. Both of us are invited." He had done this deliberately. He knew if he asked Mahin himself, she would refuse outright. Now, refusing after getting dressed in front of his mother felt impossible. Reluctantly, Mahin stood up. As she moved toward the door, Arslan caught her hand. "Let go," she said quietly. He smiled. "Hands aren't held to be let go. They're held to walk together." Mahin looked stunning in her black sari. Arslan found it hard to take his eyes off her. "You know," he said softly, "black is already my weakness. And a sari on top of that. It's becoming very hard to stay in control tonight." Mahin immediately turned her face away and stared out the window. Arslan wanted to reduce the distance between them, but Mahin's silence stood like a wall. Everyone praised them. "What a beautiful couple," one of Arslan's friends insisted on taking their picture together. Arslan deliberately pulled Mahin closer. She smiled faintly, out of obligation, not comfort. The moment they returned, Mahin went straight to the room. She knew, if she delayed even a second, Arslan would stop her. She had just taken out a simple dress from the cupboard when Arslan entered the room. He grabbed her arm. "No, not tonight, Mahin. Enough is enough." His voice was firm, controlled. "I'm not used to explaining my character, but if an explanation can remove your suspicions, then listen carefully. I love only you. There is no other woman in my life. I have never done anything wrong with any woman. Nothing that I'd have to regret or answer for before God." Mahin struggled to free her arm. "Let go of me. I saw you myself. I don't believe your lies." Arslan's tone sharpened. "What exactly did you see? Tell me, I'll clear it right now." "I don't want your explanations. Let go of my hand." Now even Arslan was exhausted. "Why do you want to force me to claim my right through coercion? I don't want that. But I also can't stay away from you anymore." Mahin's voice was filled with disgust. "I will never become the target of the desires of a lustful man like you." Arslan felt like slapping her. Instead, he said coldly, "A woman used only for lust is never married, and you are my wife. Anything between us is completely lawful, even a little force." He didn't want this, but she was pushing him. He pushed her onto the bed and fell over her. Mahin struggled desperately, pushing him away again and again. Suddenly, his phone rang. Arslan cursed under his breath. He pulled back. Mahin immediately adjusted her sari and ran to the bathroom with her clothes. Arslan answered the call. It was the same girl who had been harassing him for the past month. "Why don't you understand? I love you. Just accept me once. I'll make you happy." Arslan snapped, "Shut up. If you call again, you'll regret it. I'll trap you in a legal case." At that moment, Mahin came out of the bathroom. Seeing him on the phone, her forehead creased. Arslan was already furious. "You're threatening me. Do whatever you can. But whatever I do to you, you'll remember it." He hung up. Mahin said coldly, "I've received enough clarification about your character." Arslan lost all patience. "Fine, I am characterless. Believe whatever you want." He picked up his pillow and blanket and lay down on the sofa. At that moment, he didn't want to argue anymore. That night, Arslan slept on the sofa. Mahin lay on the bed, wide awake. Her heart had hardened. Everything was clear to her now, or at least she believed it was. 2 days later, the calm of the house was torn apart. The police arrived. The news was explosive. Arslan had been caught in a hotel room with a woman. The woman was crying, screaming, accusing him loudly. "He has ruined my life." The police took Arslan with them. The news spread through the house like wildfire. Samira Begum collapsed in tears. "My son cannot do this. My son is innocent." Kashif Sahib stood frozen, unable to process the shock. Mahin remained silent. Only one sentence echoed in her mind. "I knew it." The girl screamed in front of everyone. "He committed sin with me. Now he must marry me." Arslan's voice was firm and unwavering. "Punish me if you want, but I will never marry this woman. I have done nothing wrong." Unfortunately, Arslan's professional success had earned him many enemies. No lawyer was willing to take his case. Mahin's heart softened slightly seeing Samira Begum cry, but suspicion was still alive. Suddenly the doorbell rang. When the door opened, Hira walked in. Mahin was startled. "You, here?" Hira spoke seriously. "I need to talk to you." Mahin's voice was bitter. "Talk to me. You must be happy now. Your criminal is finally being punished." Hira looked shocked. "What are you saying?" Mahin snapped. "Didn't Arslan do the same thing to you that he's accused of now? The only difference is, your matter was buried." Hira's eyes widened. "No, nothing like that ever happened." Hira took a deep breath and began to explain. "My boss was blackmailing me. He made immoral demands. I had taken a loan from him, and he was using that against me. I wanted to protect my dignity, so I went to Sir Arslan. On his advice, I called my boss to a hotel room, but before that, Sir Arslan had already hidden himself inside to record evidence. The things you overheard, I wasn't saying them to Sir Arslan, I was saying them to my boss. The video was recorded, and I won the case. He saved my honor." Her voice trembled. "Please, fight Sir Arslan's case. This woman is lying, and right now, no lawyer is willing to represent him." She pleaded softly. "Please don't lose a good man because of your doubts." Mahin fell silent. She remembered that night, Arslan speaking harshly to a woman on the phone, warning her. Maybe she had been wrong. Maybe she had gone too far with her suspicions. The next day, Mahin walked into the courtroom as Arslan's lawyer. It was the biggest turning point of their lives. The next morning, Mahin walked straight into the courtroom. Her face was calm, but her eyes held unshakable determination. That day, she wasn't just a wife, she was a lawyer. When Arslan was brought to the dock and his eyes fell on Mahin, he froze. For a moment, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. "She is fighting my case?" Mahin didn't look at him. She stepped forward and announced firmly, "My name is Advocate Mahin, and I represent the accused, Arslan." Whispers spread through the courtroom. The woman sat on one side, crying dramatically, her face painted with fake innocence. With the court's permission, Mahin presented the hotel's CCTV footage. The video clearly showed the woman entered the room first. Arslan arrived later, talking on the phone. Exactly 15 minutes later, the woman came out. Her clothes were perfectly intact, and she immediately started shouting. Mahin spoke calmly. "Your Honor, in 15 minutes, neither can a woman's dignity be destroyed, nor can she calmly step out fully dressed and begin making accusations." Mahin requested permission to present a practical demonstration. The court allowed it. She called a police constable forward, someone similar in height and build to the woman. "Please wear the same skin-tight jeans that the complainant claims she was wearing." The woman nodded nervously. "Yeah, those were the same." Mahin continued, "Now remove them. The court will note the time." Murmurs filled the courtroom. It took a full 10 minutes to remove the jeans. The judge looked up sharply. Mahin stated confidently, "If it takes 10 minutes just to remove these jeans, how is it possible that everything happened within 15 minutes and the same clothes were worn again?" Mahin addressed the judge. I respectfully request that the complainant undergo a medical examination, so the truth may be established, whether any crime occurred at all, and if it did, who committed it. The court immediately ordered the tests. The medical reports arrived. They proved clearly Arslan had not committed any act. The allegations were false. The woman had attempted blackmail. The judge announced, Arslan is declared innocent. The complainant is taken into custody for filing false accusations. Arslan was free. Samira Begum cried tears of relief. Kashif Sahib finally breathed in peace. But Arslan's eyes searched for only one face. Mahin. She had already left the courtroom quietly. When Arslan returned home, an unfamiliar silence awaited him. He had been proven innocent. His honor was restored. His parents' faces finally showed relief, but his heart was restless. Because Mahin was quiet. At dinner, Mahin served Arslan food herself. No complaints, no accusations, no questions. Arslan realized then, this silence was heavier than any argument. After dinner, he went into the room. Mahin was already there. Arslan stopped and asked quietly, "Why did you fight my case?" Mahin replied without looking at him, "Because you are my husband. I couldn't allow anyone else to disgrace my husband." Arslan was stunned. "So, you didn't trust me, yet you still did it?" Mahin answered softly, "My trust returned when Hira told me the truth, but even before that, I had decided I wouldn't let you rot in jail." Something broke inside Arslan. "And if she hadn't told you the truth?" he asked. Mahin finally raised her eyes. They were moist. "Even then, your honor would have been my honor." Arslan gently held her arm. "I thought you were foolish," he said honestly, "but you are far stronger than I ever understood. I was wrong, terribly wrong. I didn't understand your fear, your silence, your resistance." Mahin's voice trembled. "And I judged an entire man based on half-seen truths." They stood quietly. Then Arslan leaned forward and placed a gentle kiss on her forehead. "From today onward, no suspicion, no force, only trust." That night, for the first time, the silence in the room was not frightening. The sofa remained empty. And on the bed, two wounded hearts rested, without fear, without doubt. Mahin whispered softly, "I still need to learn how to trust you completely." Arslan smiled gently, "And I still need to learn how to love with patience." Thus, a story that began with suspicion ended with trust. A story that proved love is not won by force, but by truth. The end.